problem.
Now, I guess I want to start. I found you, Ryan, by a vlog that you put up on YouTube talking about the school shooting, and I have to ask you what it was that motivated you to record that video.
Well, I've always kind of been interested in doing this kind of commentary on current events, things like that, giving my opinion, getting it out there, just seeing what people think, whether or not they agree. And for the longest time, I really didn't have the motivation to do it, but because this is kind of this is probably one of the more dramatic current events that I can really relate to, and it really affected me personally and people that I know. So that turned out to be my motivation.
Now, when you say it affected you personally, how do you mean?
Well, a significant portion of my graduating high school class went to NIU. I've got a few friends there, and it turns out a friend of my friend was one of the girls who died. She's attending a funeral tomorrow.
I'm very sorry to hear about that. That's unfortunate. A friend of one of your friends is one of the people who has been killed in this tragedy.
Right. It's just, and with all the other things that have happened, Columbine was out in Colorado, and Virginia Tech was on the East Coast, and it's been the first one in a long time that, since I can remember at least, that's really affected the Chicago area in this way.
Wow. I guess that's the thing too. I mean, we see the events happening on the news, and they're happening like in another state, a few states away, or in another country, or the other end of the country, and we don't necessarily think about it in terms until it happens like 3 blocks from our house. That tends to change things a little bit, doesn't it?
It does, and I think that's part of it is just because of the size of the country. That it's really hard to kind of connect with certain events like that based on pure demographic size.
Now, in your vlog, and I thought I watched quite a few of these vlogs to see which I thought would be the most interesting to hear from, and I was looking for a different perspective because unfortunately with these type of incidents they're becoming more commonplace, so some of the reactions are kind of typical. Your particular vlog was different, and you actually made a lot of interesting points I hadn't thought about before, and there's 2 of them I'd like to discuss with you. The first was your statement that on the heels of Virginia Tech and 9/11 and the war in Iraq, all these sort of things, that you said you thought, I believe you're 20 years old, that you said you were too young to be experiencing so much history. What did you mean by that?
Well, really, it's just that in the short amount of time that I've been on this earth, I've experienced a lot, and it's been really horrific. I mean, 9/11 was the worst attack on American civilians in the history of our country. Virginia Tech was the worst school shooting, and it hasn't been that long. And that's breaking too many records in too short of amount of time. And I mean, it just feels like the farther we go into the future, the worse things are getting. I mean, and it's not even just with that. I mean, the 20th century alone, we've had 2 world wars, a Holocaust, a number of other wars and genocides and things like that. It almost feels like, as things should be improving as, the future's coming along, but it's not. It seems to be like every step forward we take 2 steps back.
Yeah, that's true, and it's not the kind of record you want to be breaking, really. But you also made another interesting comment about 9/11 and saying that, the amount of people that died on 9/11, while a lot and was tragic, kind of pales in comparison to the annual murder rate, even in foreign countries are doing better, in places like Pakistan and Iran, these places in the Middle East where we assume there's death and mayhem every day. It's actually not as bad as the U.S., according to the statistics that you had.
Right. I did a little bit further research on some of those statistics, and I was saying that Pakistan is actually a really, really low murder rate. And the statistics that I was looking at were actually, the most recent ones were from 2000. So that's pre-9/11, war in Iraq, war in Afghanistan, and all this political discontent that's happening over there. So, but new data suggests that it's actually a little bit more violent in the U.S. now. But historically, by nature, we are more violent than most other countries, and it's only because of some of this new stuff that's coming along that this violence has increased. But the majority of Western countries and everything, we're just the amount of violence that exists within the U.S. is just astronomical compared to everything else.
Right. Now, I think you even had a number for the annual murder rate in the United States as well, did you not?
Yeah, it was something like 17,000.
17,000. That's ridiculous. When you think about it in terms of that, the 3,000 that died on 9/11 does seem a lot smaller, but we don't acknowledge that. If they don't all die at once in some horrific event, we don't seem to care as much. And that's what's so fascinating to me is that, in big bundles, or even little bundles like the 5 that happened in Illinois, then we care. Individually, over a long period of time, like a year, for example, it doesn't seem to motivate us to do very much to change it, does it?
No, and there seems to be something fundamentally wrong with that. You think that if we're killing, individually each other on such a regular basis, you think that would still get people's attention, but for some reason it doesn't. It suggests there's something fundamentally wrong with the way our society functions.
So what do you think that is?
I really don't know. I would have thought that a long time ago people would have looked around and said there's something wrong. We obviously have to change, but I don't know. I think the media has a certain way of shifting the blame to make it seem like it rests more within individuals than it does within the society itself.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense to me. Of course, I'm a bit of a media critic myself. That's why my website exists, is I tend to hold the mainstream media accountable and criticize them a lot, because I think there's a lot of things they overlook, and they tend to have a different agenda than just to get the information out. And certainly, I did an article on the Virginia Tech shooting, which was called Broken News, which was kind of about the way some of the news anchors tried to manufacture outrage just to get people upset. And again, that seemed to me maybe not the best time for that kind of thing.
No, and you'd think though that if they're trying to get people upset, it would still motivate them to try and ask for change and things that kind of go, oh, that's sad. We have a couple of services, a few ceremonies, moment of silence, and then we go on as if it never really happened. And the fact that Virginia Tech wasn't even a year ago, this kind of thing is happening again. I just know that people are going to shut down again right after this, and nobody's going to do anything, and it's really disheartening to see.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, it discourages me, and I don't live in your country, and it's not like you couldn't have predicted it would happen again, is it?
No, but I don't think anybody really predicted it would happen this quickly.
That's a good. I guess that's a good point. But there seemed to. My understanding is it's not the only one. Is shooting in Illinois is not the only one to happen within the last 3 weeks. There seems to be a shooting going on every week or so for the past month.
Yeah, I think it was early December when a high schooler went into a mall, and I think it was Kansas, and killed, I think, 7 people.
Yes.
And then another statistic was that I think this shooting was before, just in this past week.
Yes.
School shooting alone.
So if I'm thinking, what the hell, you must be thinking it even more, being that one of your friends was a victim.
Yeah. You kind of sit around and wonder to yourself, when is something really going to happen? And then it also kind of is really difficult because I ask myself, what do I have to do different as an individual? And it's kind of really hard to reach a definitive conclusion with that. But I think together as a society we need to try and come up with some sort of more progressive solution to this problem. And a lot of people are talking about gun control, things like that, but I know Michael Moore did his Bowling for Columbine video, and he went into Canada after them, and apparently, you guys are big hunters in Canada, but murder rates are relatively low. It's extremely low compared to the U.S., so...
I don't know what the murder rate for Canada is, but I know it's not 17,000 a year, and that's just astronomical to me. And when you told me that, my jaw dropped, and I was kind of like, what the hell?
Right. I mean, at that rate, we're killing off the same amount of people in 2.5 months as we lost in one day on 9/11. And as far as, killing people goes, that's just way too much. Either way you look at it, whether it's all in one day or it's been 2.5 months.